Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and I'm on a quest for England. And what could be more English than a public footpath? Some of the wonderful public footpaths that weave all over this wonderful land. And today I want to just explore one of them and talk about public footpaths and the rights of way. Now, I'm going to start my walk today, and it's a very short walk in an unusual place. I'm in Worthing, where I live, and I'm going on a localish walk because we still have had a lot of floods and the roads are a bit dicey, and to be honest with you, I don't know what roads are open and what are not, and I have to try and make a daily video every day, of course. So I thought, where can I go that's local, that's a bit different? And one of the places is here at the back of Sainsbury's. Now, you wouldn't think that there is a lovely footpath at the back of Sainsbury's, but there is, and it takes you over the downs. But you've got to start at Lyons Farm, where there's out of town shopping and all of that, and then we'll get up onto the countryside. Here we are, public footpath sign, very welcome sign for walkers. You know when you see one of these that there is a route that's accessible for you to go walking, public footpath as opposed to a bridle way, which would then mean you can go on a bicycle or a horse. And a lot of these paths, like who knows this one, are ancient and go back a very long time. And we're so lucky in this country to have these rights of way and these public footpaths, because in so many other countries the land is all private and you're just not allowed on them at all. And the thing about this wonderful land is that these paths, although ancient paths, they've come into public ownership because they've just been used. And I know that there are many unused paths which are ancient and not mapped on the OS maps, and I think we've got something like about 5 or 6 years left to go and register those paths that have not been yet registered before we lose them completely. Oh, look at this. Lovely here to see a little bit of blackthorn coming out into blossom. It's looking absolutely lovely. It's going to see so much more of this, which will be just wonderful. I'm filming in February, getting towards the end of February, and we've had such a wet winter here, so the ground is a bit damp, although this is not too bad where I am. But it's just so lovely to see that early blossom, because it gives you something warm to look forward to as we head towards the spring. And fortunately, it's not going to be long. Look at this. It looks like the remnants of a picnic table. Right behind me here is the industrial estate, and this side of me is the countryside. This is where Worthing and the town and urbanisation stops and the countryside begins. And you can imagine this was erected possibly so that some of the workers could come out here just off the public footpath and enjoy a little bit of countryside, which just goes to show really how important getting out into the countryside, or at least having that window onto it, is important for the human soul. And then suddenly I'm out there myself in the countryside, still got the roar of the road, the A27, which is on my left, on my right rather, but on my left, the wonderful fields that are at the north slope of the South Downs. And if I follow it that direction, I'd end up at Sisbury Ring. But here we are, more blackthorn coming in to blossom. I notice on the trees on this side not quite sure what that is. Maybe it's hawthorn, just coming into flower. There are on the ground footprints and tyre tracks from bicycles as well. It's just fantastic to see that we're warming up and the sun has come out. The footpaths are amazing because every time you go on any footpath, it has its own story to tell, its own place of origin, its number of numerous people that have trod on there with their own personal stories. And if you could metal detect or dig around, you'd probably find all sorts of relics that have been lost or thrown away as people have made their journeys up and down the country. Amazing. It's interesting, this business about the access to the land, not so much the right to roam, because the right to roam is on access permitted land, but the public footpaths that have come through common law and common usage from our ancestors, right from probably back to the Neolithic times, or even the hunter-gatherers, when routes started to become very much the highways of the countryside. And as you go through history, people are using these paths. They become obviously well trodden, well before maps ever arrived, and they may be shortcuts to churches or access across the land, the easiest and most simplest route. But as you go through history, the landowners wanted to enclose the land so that they could concentrate on more extensive farming for what they wanted to do, and there were numerous periods of time when great enclosures happened, and yet they couldn't quite enclose the land so that nobody was allowed on it, because these footpaths, having been established, still gave the public the right of way to travel on them. And so you can have your private land enclosed with walls and hedges and fences and gates and all of that, but still a footpath can weave across it, much to the contempt and annoyance of many landowners today. And there are, as I said before, footpaths which have fallen into disuse or have not been placed on the Ordnance Survey maps or on the official record, that we have a limited time to try and discover those and put them back. So although you have enclosed land, you have enclosed land, you also still have very much open land. And an observation that I was reading about only the other day in Roger Scruton's book, England, an Elegy. A crossroads, where to go? The excitement of coming to a crossroads. Oh, I love them. So here we have the path I've come on, and then there's a route down there which takes me south to the A27, and here there's another very interesting and seductive route that's winding up onto the South Downs, or I can continue my eastward journey this way, which will end up at a church. And that's what I'm going to do. This is St Mary's of Sompting in West Sussex, with its rather magnificent Rhinehelm tower roof. It's a rather special church that in another video I will go and look at in more detail. But how many people have walked that path to go and worship at this church? This is a beautiful and amazing church, and as I say, I will come back and do a feature on it. I believe it's Saxon and has a very special important architecturally, because I think it's the last example of one of those towers in the country. But this is about public footpaths, and this is about the pathways that cross this wonderful land, England, and they go somewhere. They go somewhere, and often they go to churches. Sometimes now, because we've put roads in on old pathways or across old pathways, they get cut off. Sometimes they do get forgotten, but they all had a purpose at one point. And to investigate those pathways is very much a remit on my quest for England. I'm going to have a quick peek inside. So, my quest for England on this particular video, looking at the footpaths, and I'll do more of them, ends here in this beautiful, wonderful, holy church of St. Mary in Sompting, with these ancient stones that were put here by masons so long ago. And it makes me just think about my quest. Am I looking for England of today, for what it means to me, or am I looking for England of the past, many different pasts? And I think that's clearly what I'm looking for. I've been looking at heritage, landscape and nature, and I suppose I'm looking for the England that's in the past and yet reflected in today. It's a very complicated search, and it's going to take time, probably a lifetime, to find out what it means to me to be English in this English land. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back to carry on this quest for England and all its pleasures and joys. So do join me again next time. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe. Press the bell for the notification, and give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video. If you've got any comments, I always read them. I try to reply to each one, but I can't guarantee it, of course. And if you care to be a patron and support what I do, a little amount each month really helps. All the information is on the baldexplorer.com website. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.